Hi, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kristen. So for today's video, I'm going to be sharing 23 books that I want to read in 2023. These are 23 books that I already own. They're on my shelf. I have physical copies of them. So I did this video last year of 22 books I wanted to read in 2022. Most of the time, I'm not very good at sticking to my TBRs, but I do still really enjoy making them, even if I'm really bad about reading the books that I say I'm going to read. So I wanted to do it again for this upcoming year. So yeah, let's just get into the video. So these aren't in any order. There are some that are definitely way more prioritized than others, but overall there's no specific order of these. I'm just kind of going through all the ones that I grabbed from my shelf. So the first book is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. So this one is for sure like a more prioritized read for me. I know it's a whole series, it's ongoing, only 3 of the books are out. I think the 4th one actually just came out. I don't like starting incomplete series, but I've just heard so many great things about this one that I am willing to start reading it anyway. The next 4 books, I'm really annoyed with myself for the fact that these are still on my TBR. I don't know why I haven't read them yet, but I'm going to include them again. They were on last year's TBR, and I feel like have been on almost every TBR this entire year, like for my monthly TBRs, and I still haven't read them yet, so they're going to continue to stay on my TBRs until I read them. But the books are the Dirty Air series by Lauren Asher. So the first book is Throttled, and then book 2 is Collided, book 3 is Wrecked, and then book 4 is Redeemed. I always bring them up and say I'm going to read them, and then I never do, but this year for sure will be the year that I read them. I want to read them in January, but I'm not sure. We'll see, but it will happen in 2023. The next book that I will 100% be reading in 2023 is Some Kind of Perfect by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I said I was going to finish this series by the end of 2022. I actually initially wanted to finish this series by the end of 2021. That's when I actually started it, and I wasn't able to finish it in time, so I was going to try to finish it in early 2022. That didn't happen, so then I was going to try to finish it by the end of 2022, and that also didn't happen. So 2023 will be the year that I finish this series finally. I mean, I've gotten through all the books. This is like the last one. I mean, I technically at the point that I'm filming this, I haven't read Long Way Down, but I'm going to. It's definitely one of my next reads, so it'll be done by the end of 2022. But this one, I'm going to read it in 2023 for sure. But to go along with that, the next 2 books are the Bad Reputation duet, which is Whatever It Takes and Wherever You Are. So these are books that follow side characters from the Addicted and Calloway Sisters series, but I'm excited to read more about them because I just already really love the idea of them, like just from the little things that I have read about them from the series. Like they just seem so cute, and I've heard that these books are so good. The next book is Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This is the first book in this series. This is a mafia romance. I recently bought it because I want to get into Sophie Lark's books, so I'm really excited to get into this one. I've heard that it's really good. I've also heard that it's kind of on the lighter side of mafia, which is good because I've never read mafia romance before. And then of course, if I love it, I want to continue on with the rest of the series. The next book is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I really love Kennedy Ryan. I read the Hoop series by her and just loved it so much, so I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I've heard that it's really amazing. I think this one's going to be a really great book. I feel like I'm going to really love it a lot, so this one is definitely like a very high prioritized read for me. The next book is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. This one feels more like a fall read to me, like to read around Halloween time, because it has like a paranormal aspect to it. It is a romance, but like it's a paranormal romance. I feel like I'm gonna end up saving it for like the fall, but I know I'd like to read it by the end of 2023. The next book is Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book too, so I can't wait to get to this one. I'm planning to hopefully soon, because I also want to read more books by this author. I've heard she has some other really good books, so I'd like to read this one first. It's just one of those books where I got really excited for it. I didn't get to it right away, so the excitement died down a little bit, but I will definitely read it this year, hopefully. The next book is Letters to Molly by Devney Perry. So this is part of the Mason Jar duet. The first book is The Birthday List, and I read that one back in July, and I was planning to read this one like right after. I don't know why I never got to it. I actually started reading like the prologue, and then I just didn't feel like reading it at the time, so I never actually like continued on with this book, but I definitely want to. I've heard it's amazing. I feel like I'm gonna like this one a lot. I did really like The Birthday List, so I feel like this one is probably gonna be even better. I'll definitely be reading this one soon. I say that with all of these books. I don't know if I'm gonna be reading this one soon actually, but I'll definitely be reading it this year for sure. I mean, obviously I'm saying that with all of these books, but this one is definitely like one that I would like to try to get through soon, because I also want to read more by Devney Perry. Like I want to get through more of her books, so this one's definitely like a prioritized read in terms of Devney Perry books. But my next book is another Devney Perry book, and that's Indigo Ridge. This is the first in the Eden series. I've heard it's really amazing though. I've heard this whole series is so good. I can't wait to get into it. Like I said, I've been wanting to read more by Devney Perry, so I will definitely be reading this one very soon. The next 2 books I want to read are some more rom-coms. So I want to read Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey, and then Tools of Engagement, which is also by Tessa Bailey. So these are part of a series. The first book is Fix Her Up, which I actually read that one last October, so I've been wanting to read these books like since then, and I just haven't got into them. Especially Love Her, Lose Her. It's a marriage and trouble trope. I think I've mentioned already like 3 marriage and trouble tropes in this video, but yeah, I just really like that trope. And then Tools of Engagement. I think it's like an age gap maybe a little bit, and maybe Grumpy Sunshine, and that's kind of all I know. But yeah, I've owned both of these books for a very long time, and I would like to finish this series because I've heard it's really good. So hopefully this year will be the year that I get to these books. The next book is Mine Would Be You by Kay Jamila. This one I've also heard really amazing things about it. I feel like everyone that reads it loves it. I was so excited to get to this book, and I actually started reading it back in August, and then I wouldn't say I DNF'd it, but I got through a few chapters and then I just didn't feel like reading it at the time. It wasn't like because it was bad or anything. I just kind of wasn't in the mood to read this book, so I moved on to a different one, and I decided that I would come back to this one later. So I'm definitely still planning to come back to it because I feel like I'm gonna like this one. Like, I liked what I had read so far. I don't remember what I ended up reading instead, but I just remember I didn't feel like reading this book and I just wanted to read something else. But I am still really excited to read it because I've heard it's really good. It also takes place in New York, which I love, and yeah, I just haven't read it, but I'm going to. Hopefully this year. The next book is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. This is part of a series, and I've heard that the series is absolutely amazing. I feel like everyone who reads it loves it, so I definitely want to read it. I'm really excited for it. I bought this book I think back in the summer. It was one that I spontaneously bought because everyone was talking about it on TikTok and I was really excited for it, and then I just never got to it, mostly because it's a really long book. I've heard it's a slow burn, and then it's super long. It's like over 500 pages, and the font is like so tiny. I talked about this actually when I bought this book. Like, I said the exact same things, and so I just haven't been that motivated to pick it up, but I've heard that it's amazing, so I will definitely be reading it this year for sure. Like, it's definitely one that I want to get to because I am sad that I have not gotten to it yet. So this one is definitely like a priority for me once I'm in the mood to read a longer book. But I also feel like it's gonna be one of those books that's worth it in the end because it's just gonna be so good. The next book is Everything After by Jill Santopolo. So I read The Light We Lost, which is also by the same author. This one I don't think has anything to do with that book. It's not tied to it at all. But this one I don't really know what it's about actually. I kind of just want to read it because it's by the same author and I really loved her last book, but I know it's another story that takes place in New York. It seems like it's probably going to be a little bit sad, possibly, maybe a similar concept to The Light We Lost, like similar ideas and topics and all of that, but The Light We Lost was just amazing. It was just one of those books that had me like thinking about it for so long after I read it. So since reading it, I've been wanting to read more by her, and I've had this book for a long time. I've had it since last summer, and I kind of just bought it because I thought the cover was pretty. I mean, the synopsis sounded interesting too. I usually read the synopsis too. I don't just buy books because of their cover, but this one I've owned it for way too long, and I feel like I'll enjoy it hopefully since I liked her last book, so I'm definitely planning to try to get to it this year. And then the next book is The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. I bought it because I liked Better Than the Movies, which is also by Lynn Painter, and this one just seemed really cute. It's a rom-com, it's YA. So this one I bought it at Barnes & Noble recently. I did a vlog where I went to Barnes & Noble and talked about the books that I bought afterwards, and in that video I said that I would probably save this one for Valentine's Day because it takes place on Valentine's Day, so that's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait until February to read it. The next book, again, one that I'm kind of embarrassed is still on my TBR, but it's Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I can't believe I haven't read this book after I've been saying I'm gonna read it. I bought it back in March and I just have not bothered trying to read this book. I'll definitely be reading it this year, like for sure, because I've just been putting it off for too long. Also, the second book for this one is gonna come out, so I want to read it before the second one comes out. The next book is Pack Up the Moon by Kristen Higgins. This one I bought it a while ago because I was feeling like reading a sad book, and then by the time that I actually had this book, I did not want to read a sad book, so I've just been saving it for when I wanted to read a sad book, and I haven't been in the mood to read a sad book lately, so that's why I haven't read it yet. I feel like I'm gonna love this book. I feel like it's gonna be one of those like very like impactful books, but I've been saving it for when I feel like reading something sad. And the next book is Mile High by Liz Tomford. This one is a hockey sports romance. I can't wait to get to it. I just haven't yet because it is also kind of a longer book, and I just haven't been that motivated to pick it up because I'm worried that it'll take me a long time to get through it, but I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I'll definitely be reading it very soon. It is another one that is prioritized for me. So those were 23 books from my physical TBR shelf that I want to read in 2023. So we'll see at the end of 2023 if I do get through all of these books. I have high hopes for them, but I'm not really good at sticking to my TBR, so I don't really have high hopes for me actually getting through all of these books, but these are the ones that I'm most excited for that I have on my shelf currently. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know any of your thoughts on these books, or let me know what books you're planning to read in 2023. But yeah, if you liked this and you're new to my channel, I would love it if you'd stick around and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.